Everyone froze when she entered the room, but the new maid did not bow, did not flinch, and in that moment, fear began to lose its grip. No one questioned her orders. They obeyed before she finished speaking. In this house, fear moved faster than sound, and it always arrived before her footsteps. The fiancée of the Korean Mafia boss did not need to raise her voice. Her presence alone tightened spines and lowered eyes. Even the air felt heavier when she passed through a room, as if the walls themselves remembered her temper. That morning, the tension was thicker than usual. A glass lay shattered near the marble stairs, its sharp pieces scattered like a warning. A young staff member stood frozen, breath shallow, knowing punishment would come not from shouting, but from silence. The fiancée stood nearby, perfectly still, her face calm and cold, eyes fixed on the mistake as if it were a personal insult. And then the new black maid stepped forward. She did not rush. She did not apologize for something that was not hers. She simply knelt, shielding the broken glass with her body as she cleaned, careful and steady. The room held its breath. This was not how things were done here. The maid's name was Naomi. She had arrived only 3 days earlier, carrying one suitcase and a past no one asked about. She wore her uniform neatly, her hair tied back, her posture relaxed but alert. There was something different about her calm. It was not fear hiding itself. It was strength that did not need permission. The fiancé noticed. Everyone always did. Eventually, her name was Han Seoyeon, and people feared her more than they feared the man she was set to marry. Kong Min-jae ruled the city's shadows with quiet control, but Seo Yueon ruled the house with sharp precision. Where Min-jae chose patience, she chose pressure. Where he waited, she watched. She believed order was the only thing standing between survival and chaos. Seo-Yeon had learned that belief young. She grew up in a home where love was measured by obedience. Her father's approval was rare and costly. Mistakes were met with silence that burned longer than anger ever could. Seoyeon learned early that softness invited pain. Control became her shield. Perfection became her armor. When she met Min-jae, she saw a man who understood power the same way she did. He did not shout. He did not rush. He commanded by presence alone. Together, they looked unbreakable. To the outside world, they were balance and threat wrapped in elegance. Inside the house, the staff lived carefully. There were rules written nowhere, but known by everyone. Speak only when spoken to. Move quickly, but never rush. Never meet Seoyeon's eyes unless invited. Mistakes were rare because fear made people precise. Naomi learned the rules quickly. She followed them without complaint. But she did not carry fear in her shoulders the way the others did. She did not rush away from Seoyeon's shadow. She did not shrink. Naomi had lived with heavier weight before. She grew up caring for a sick mother, in a place where patience was the only currency that mattered. She learned how to read moods, how to notice silence, how to stay calm when others broke. She had worked in homes where dignity was not given but guarded. She had learned that respect did not come from fear. It came from consistency. That was why she noticed what others missed. She noticed that Seoyeon never ate with the staff present. She noticed how long she stood by the window when Min-jae was away. She noticed how anger flared most when things felt out of control, not when they were truly wrong. Beneath the fear Seoyeon inspired, Naomi sensed exhaustion, loneliness, a woman holding herself together by force of will alone. The first shift came quietly. Seo-Yeon corrected Naomi sharply one afternoon, her tone cold and cutting. The room went still, waiting for the new maid to fold. Naomi lowered her head slightly, acknowledged the instruction, and continued her work without trembling hands. No apology, no resistance, just calm. Seo-Yeon felt it like a challenge, though none was offered. Days passed. Seoyeon tested Naomi in small ways. Sudden demands, long stares meant to unsettle, silence meant to intimidate. Naomi met each test the same way. She listened, she complied, she did not change. Other staff members began to notice the difference. The house felt less brittle when Naomi was nearby. Mistakes were fewer, whispers softened, fear loosened its grip just enough to breathe. One evening, Min-jae returned late. The house stirred with quiet urgency. Seoyeon waited for him, anger and worry twisted tight in her chest. When he finally arrived, exhausted and distant, her words came sharp. Driven by fear she could not name. Min-jae listened, silent. His calm only sharpened her frustration. The argument ended without resolution, leaving Seo Yuan alone in the dim room, staring at reflections that did not comfort her. That was when the pressure broke. Naomi entered to clear a tray. She sensed the shift immediately. She did not speak. She simply stayed. Seo Yuan's composure cracked, sudden and raw. Tears came fast, unwanted, years of restraint spilling out in seconds. Naomi did not react with shock or pity. She handed Seo Yuan a cloth and waited. Her presence said something words never could. "You are allowed to be human here." Seo-Yuan spoke then, her voice low and strained. She spoke of watching every step, of being judged, of loving a man who could never truly rest. She spoke of carrying fear because she believed it was the only way to stay safe. Naomi listened. She did not fix, she did not advise, she simply heard. That night did not change everything, but it changed enough. Seo-Yuan did not soften overnight. Fear does not vanish so easily, but she paused more. She spoke less sharply. She watched Naomi with a new awareness, one that unsettled her more than fear ever had. The true test came weeks later. An old associate of Minjae arrived unannounced, carrying arrogance disguised as confidence. He spoke down to the staff, testing boundaries he believed still bent for him. The room went quiet. Eyes lowered. Fear returned like muscle memory. Naomi continued her work. She did not bow deeper. She did not rush. She simply existed, steady and unafraid. The associate scoffed, expecting submission that did not come. Seo-Yuan watched from across the room. Something shifted inside her then, clear and sharp. She stepped forward, her voice calm but firm, her authority unmistakable. She corrected the man, not with cruelty, but with clarity. The room felt it. Power, stripped of fear, was heavier than anyone expected. The associate backed down, not because he was shouted at, because he understood he no longer ruled this space. Later, Minjae asked Seo Yuan what had changed. She did not speak of Naomi directly. She simply said something she had never believed before. Fear is loud, but respect lasts longer. Minjae carried those words with him. The house changed slowly after that. Rules remained, but they breathed. Staff stood straighter. Loyalty deepened. Naomi never claimed credit. She never sought favor. Her strength lived in quiet consistency. The final moment came at a formal gathering weeks later. Eyes watched Seo Yuan closely, waiting for cracks, expecting the feared woman they knew. Naomi adjusted Seo Yuan's dress before she entered the room. A small, grounding gesture. Seo-Yuan walked in calm and steady, not feared, respected. Whispers followed, but they lacked their old edge. Power had shifted, not loudly, but completely. At the end of the night, Seo Yuan stood beside Naomi and said something that surprised them both. Strength does not need cruelty to be real. Minjae saw his future differently because of that shift. He saw a house built on order without terror, silence without threat, power that did not consume everything it touched. Naomi remained unseen by the world beyond the gates, but deeply known within them. She had not overthrown anyone. She had not challenged authority. She had simply reminded a feared woman of her humanity. Everyone once feared the fiancé of the Korean Mafia boss, but it was the new black maid who showed her that fear is not power. Control is not strength, and silence, when held with dignity, can change everything. Some battles are not won with force. Some victories arrive without noise. If this story stayed with you, share where you are watching from and what moment moved you most. Subscribe for more cinematic tales of quiet courage, unseen strength, and the power of dignity.